Can you hear me now? I hope so. It says I'm working, so that's good. Well, Merry Christmas, everyone. And I had so much going on before the holidays. I was not able to get everything done that I wanted to. But hopefully now, it says 0 views. Boy, I sure hope. Let's see, are you there? Let's see if I can get any attention. Oh, good. Mark, thank you. Because I'm thinking, do I have to try another system? There's a thing called StreamYard that's super easy. I'm using the hard OBS software, and last time I tried to do it, I got mixed up. It said you're live, but you're not. I don't know. So I'm a little challenged, but that's okay. I'm seeing Mark there, and I know everything's okay now. I hope you had a great Christmas. I mean, it's kind of over by this morning, isn't it? It's crazy. But I got my schoolwork in, and that was really putting a damper on my ability to work on sculpture. I'm in the final stages of Bachelor of Science degree. I know everybody thinks, what are you doing at your age? I always wanted to get my degree, and so far so good. I'm on track. So I'm going to be challenged again later this season, but right now we'll try to pack in as much sculpture. And even I might backtrack and create a plan so people can follow along with the reindeer project, because it actually applies to a lot of other projects as well, like horses and other things you might want to do that are similar to a reindeer. So without too much more delay, what I'm doing right now is cutting armature. I didn't ever fully embed the armature in the other reindeer. So I'm going to do that right now because I know that people need to see how easy this is to do. I'm using Jack Richardson armature, and I'm roughly eyeing it up from the first piece. And the first reindeer I did has the armature in the legs, and that made it very, very sturdy. The second reindeer, I started to do the armature for the legs. And I'm going to switch to the other camera now. And let's see. There we go. All right. So now you're going to get to see what I do. Let's make sure it's in the view. I'm going to switch the position of this camera so that it's more like toward you in the future. So I'll put it on the other side of my desk. But right now it's where it is. I'm working this out, guys, little by little. So hopefully you can follow along pretty well. I softened this up a little, this clay first. And I wanted to show you this because I think it's an important thing to do. You make your sculpture. I would say your model. People say, what's the difference between your model and your sculpture? Let me take that back out. I want to dig deeper. And if you have some thin part, like a leg, like this, you can, get it where you want to go. And then it's very delicate and it's going to break and you can't thin it out yet. So I softened this clay so I can use this tool, by the way. And then you just dig it out, dig channels like that, and put that armature in there. And once you get that in there, it just makes such a difference in how strong that leg will be, and you will be able to thin it out. So you can see what I have done there. It's kind of like doing an operation. We talked about that before in the previous video I did on the other reindeer. Oops. So the other reindeer, I could not even work on the feet, and I haven't finished that, but you can see it started without embedding that armature because those legs would just break right off. So I'm just pinching that closed. You can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to basically have to re-sculpt it, but that's okay because what did I want to do? I wanted to find the position of the leg. That was my main purpose in making the sculpture to the extent I did to begin. So I get that in there. I'm going to try to do them all. We're going to get this show on the road now that I have no school work excuse. Ha ha ha, right? All right. Anybody who has any questions along the way? Oh, Cindy! Oh, Merry Christmas! I can't believe it because I thought Cindy would be busy this morning. It's so nice to see you on. Merry Christmas to you. So this is a little repetitive for you guys, but what I'm going to do is I have learned that I can, for very little, put this, very little money, put this on after it's done, and a lot more people will see it than I realized I could get to see it before, even if they're not here right now. So you can see that armature is in that leg, and now I can define that leg. As it cools down, it's going to get very strong. And you also notice that the armature, I shoved it way up into the body as well to really anchor it in there. So let's do the next leg, which is still very soft. I softened this clay ahead of time, if you didn't hear that already, so that I could, oh, I did put an armature in that leg. I didn't even know I did. No wonder. Let's check to see the other ones. I don't think I finished this any further. There's an armature in this leg. No wonder that's stronger. I can feel it. Okay. So you can't even tell once it's in there. Once it's in there, it's like, oh, what's the difference? Well, your leg's not falling off. That's it's like having a pin in your body part. Okay, I'll just turn that over and work on this side then. If I see any more armatures in here, I'm going to think, what the, no, there's none in here. Okay, so I'm just making a channel. Going to make a channel. Doesn't have to be perfect, as you can see, and try to make it up kind of going high because you want to shove it into the main part of the body for strength. All right, so I'm going to do that. Mark, I'm going to have to come on your site and see all the gnomes and goblins, not goblins, gnomes, elves, I couldn't think of the word that you, Mark D. Maker on this site, for anyone who's new, is a wood carver, and he makes fantastic gnomes and characters out of wood. And I'm thinking, well, I don't know if I even want to think about wood. I'm challenged enough by clay, and wood you can't change. You create something and you carve it out and it's done, right? Jan, hi, Merry Christmas to you. That's great to see everybody on. Well, I'm so glad I'm here this morning. I was thinking, is anybody going to be here? Because it's Christmas morning, and I thought, well, I'll just do it anyway because I'll put this out there for anybody who really wants to see this armature process. See how I just shoved it in there really hard? The clay is starting to cool a little, and there we go. I'm going to just pinch it over that. Yeah, you have to resculpt a little bit. Oops, but it's okay. I mean, that's the great thing about the clay is you can just resculpt over it and thin it out really nicely. So, it doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, unless you want to make it perfect. And guys, from watching me, how perfect sometimes is like, okay, when are we going to be done? You can go on and on. And so my goal will be to try to make more workbooks for everybody because that's really helpful. Right, guys? Frank and Jackie, Merry Christmas to you too. As you can see, I've got one more leg. If you've seen it, I've got one more leg if you haven't seen it. What I'm doing right now is putting in that armature on the other reindeer. I never did finish that. I finished my last school project yesterday and turned it in. And so now I've got another final semester and it will interfere a little bit. That's why I'm not doing mold making yet, guys, because I need to have my schoolwork done. I need to get my other studio set up so I can make more of a mess. I'm in an area right now I don't want to make too messy for mold making. So those legs look very thick right now, but they will get thinned down now that the armature's in there. And if the armature doesn't work out, just take it out, soften it, your clay with a heat gun, or I put it on my, let me just show you from the other camera view. I put it in my clay warmer. Let me just kind of tilt this up so you can see all my clay in there. I make little snakes of clay and put it in there. I put it on aluminum foil and put a towel around it, keep it warm. This is the Chavant clay that I like so much because of the way it hardens as it cools, just enough that you can carve beautiful detail. So now that's strong, and we have our final goofy leg here. Let me switch to the other view. And there it is. We're going to get that before it cools down because I warmed this whole reindeer up a little bit. Now I'm using this tool because it's starting to harden a little bit. I'm going to, the other tools could break. This one I was using this end, but it might start to get a little too challenged because the clay's hardening up now. And we get that channel made. Now, if I break something, I can start again. Let me show you what I'm going to switch to. This isn't even working. I mean, it's making a channel, but it's starting to crack it. So I'm going to go to my riffler tool. Oops. Come on, camera, autofocus for me. There you go. And I've been complaining a little bit about my new camera. I'm going to put it on the other side as if somebody's looking over my shoulder. That might be a little easier than, like I have it on the other side of the desk, but it's a strange view that you guys get. And I want to make it more like, okay, what am I seeing? That might be better. You might want to see what I'm seeing. All right, so I'm making a mess because I'm trying to go a little fast. We have a few more minutes. And then, of course, I'll be here Friday morning. Now, I'll bend my armature a little bit to try to emulate that shape before I start to shove that in. Let's see if I can get it. I'm going to clip it off probably a little bit there. And I'm going to really try to work on this now before Friday morning a lot so I can catch up and show you where I wanted to go with it. And there's my alarm. And then the idea is I should really make a study guide for this. There we go. Closing that up. My alarm's going off. I'm dismissing it. Dismissed. And then just closing that up over that leg. So the idea is to make something exciting. Now, this is kind of just a plain model in a lot of ways. There's nothing dramatic about this posture that these deer are in or anything. But say you wanted to do something that just doesn't exist, like a deer jumping with a weird angle, or let me switch to this other view now to say goodbye to you. So, you know, like say you wanted to create a galloping herd of buffalo or something like that, which would actually make a really cool sculpture. I mean, you don't want to be restricted by just, you set up your armature and now you put everything over your armature and now you go, oh, I really wish I had some of these bison, they're really bison, some of them jumping or, you know, leaping or twisting or whatever, and you're restricted. So you can't get into sculpture. Cindy, bye-bye. Have a nice Christmas. I'll see you on Friday, I hope. Thanks for coming. And Frank and Jackie and Jan and Mark, thank you so much. So you see my armature's in there now. You know I can't forget. And I'll see you guys on Friday morning. So have a great rest of the day. Merry Christmas.